A strong conclusion is the linchpin of your applied research project, tying together all your research findings. It provides clarity and direction, ensuring your work leaves a lasting impact. After finishing your methodology and analysis chapters, you've reached the final section, the conclusion chapter. Everything you need to know to write a strong conclusion chapter for your applied research project will be covered in this video, such as things to cover in your conclusion and how to organize and compose your conclusion, as well as some pointers for acing the chapter. Which chapter is the conclusion? An applied research project's closing chapter is usually its last significant chapter. As so, it completes the document and provides a final synopsis of your research findings. The discussion and conclusion portions are usually distinct chapters in an applied research project, while some publications, such as journal articles and research reports, combine both. As usual, before you begin writing these chapters, make sure to find out what the preferred structure is at Purdue University Global. What distinguishes the conclusion chapter from the analysis chapter? Given that they both go over the study's main conclusions, the two chapters are fairly comparable. On the other hand, the last chapter is usually higher level and more general. Usually, you will go into great depth in your analysis chapter. But in your conclusion chapter, you will adopt a more general viewpoint and report on the key findings and how they addressed your research purpose. The conclusion chapter's primary purpose is to summarize the main ideas discussed in your research and inform the reader of the main conclusions to be drawn from it. In essence, you must explain to them what you discovered, its significance, its potential applications, and the directions for future study. In any case, avoid simply copying and pasting your analysis chapter's content. The analysis chapter shouldn't just be repeated in the closing chapter. Despite their similarities, the two chapters serve somewhat different purposes. What should the concluding chapter contain? Knowing what the chapter must accomplish will help you decide what should be included in your concluding chapter. A strong chapter at the end of an applied research project should accomplish the following. List the main conclusions of the research. Clearly respond to the research question or questions and discuss the objectives of the study. Describe the primary findings of the study to the reader. Talk about any restrictions or shortcomings in the research and provide suggestions for upcoming studies. In your conclusion, focus only on what's already presented, no new findings. Build on your analysis and make sure it flows naturally from the introduction. Many readers skip to the conclusion, so keep it clear, connected, and easy to follow. Now that you have a better idea of the topic of the conclusion chapter, let's dissect its organization so you can start writing. Step 1. Write a succinct introduction. The conclusion chapter of your applied research project should begin with a succinct introduction, much like the other chapters. You should let the reader know in this opening part what to expect from the chapter and in what order. Here's an illustration of how this could appear. In order to wrap up the investigation, this chapter will summarize the main research findings in light of the objectives and questions of the study and talk about their importance and contribution. Additionally, it will examine the study's shortcomings and suggest areas for further investigation. The goal here is not to summarize the chapter, but rather to provide the reader with a preview of what's to come. A paragraph or two should be plenty, so keep it brief and to the point. Step 2. Talk about the overall results in light of the study's objectives. Discussing the study's overall findings in relation to the research questions and goals is the next stage in writing your conclusion chapter. Since you probably went over much of the same terrain in the analysis chapter, it's crucial to take a step back and concentrate on the more general findings and how they contribute to the goals of the study. To ensure that the results are properly contextualized, it is helpful to begin this part by reminding the reader of your study objectives and research questions. Phrases like "this study aimed to" and "the results indicate that" will probably be useful in this section. Steer clear of statements like "the findings disprove the existing theory," or "this study proves that." A single study rarely has the power to confirm or refute a claim. This is usually accomplished through a larger body of research rather than an applied research project or single study. Step 3. Talk about how your research advances the field. The next step is to talk about how your research has advanced the field's theory and practice. This entails discussing your research accomplishments, emphasizing their significance and worth, and outlining their potential applications. In this section, you should mention any research products, articles, journals, etc., that came about as a result of your study. Explain to the reader how your research addresses your research challenge and why it is important. Consider the holes in the current body of research and talk about how your work fills them. Talk about your research in light of pertinent theories. Does it, for instance, support or refute these theories in a positive way? Talk about the practical applications of the research findings. What particular steps, for instance, may practitioners take in light of your findings? Step 4. Consider your study's limitations. After boosting your research, the next stage is to critically evaluate the study's constraints and possible flaws. You might have previously discussed this in the analysis chapter, so be careful not to reiterate yourself too often. Every study has potential limitations such as sampling issues, limited data access, small sample sizes, low-resolution methods, researcher bias, lack of tools, or restrictions in time and budget. While it may feel counterproductive to highlight these, acknowledging them shows awareness and strengthens the credibility of your work. The key is to recognize these limits without undermining your research. Emphasize that, despite constraints, your study still offers valuable contributions, and show that you understand how future research could address these challenges. Step 5. Recommend future research based on the limitations you just outlined. If a weakness involves sampling, data access, or analytic methods, suggest how future studies could address it, such as larger probability samples, longitudinal designs, or more advanced analyses. Note any surprising or interesting patterns that were outside your study's objectives as additional lines of inquiry. Conclude with clear, specific questions and next steps so others can build on your work and advance the field. Step 6. End with a clear final synopsis. Summarize the key points of your conclusion chapter in 1 or 2 concise paragraphs without adding new information. Keep it brief, about 5 to 7% of your total word count, and focus on clarity. State your study's contributions with modesty and confidence, avoiding exaggerated claims. Use simple, accessible language so even non-experts can understand, while still showing your expertise and providing readers with a strong, approachable closing. These are the main sections that need to be included in your Chapter 5 conclusion. Thank you for watching. Remember, a strong conclusion is the key to successful research. Keep these tips in mind as you craft your own and make your research shine. Good luck with this chapter.